So you arrived at the Jatiluwih Rice Terraces. It's basically fields of rice, but it is pretty touristy and there's an entire infrastructure to accommodate us, including like entrance gates and ticketing, different ticketing depending on how much you want to film. And to be honest, it is quite busy in here, so you barely get a section of a free pathway where you can take a picture by yourself or like make a good footage without other people walking behind your back or in front of your camera at all times. So I would say the experience itself is pretty low. I would give it maybe a 2. The rice terraces, as you can see, are absolutely beautiful, and I think that this is the site that was selected for this UNESCO heritage site because this is how it is classified, because of the geography in here. So you can see it's shaped as a valleys. Mountains are just behind us. And the technique they're using in here, obviously, as you can see, is the terracing. Every single terrace is soaked in water, and apparently, according to our host, they only use traditional methods in here, and they only grow one type of rice to keep it the most traditional, and this is why it was classified as UNESCO heritage site. The views are stunning, to be honest. But I think, and we already discussed with Uli, who stayed somewhere in the back, that we had a better and more authentic experience just behind our guest house in Ubud, where local people in their tiny plots are still growing rice. Maybe do not have as much of perspective as in here, and like it's not as picturesque. You cannot see 500 meters in front of you, but actually it's more intimate. But well, I already told you what I think about it, and maybe now Ulises will tell us what he thinks about it.
Hey everyone, it's so big!
So big.
So many terraces here in Jatiluwih. I really like the name for it. Good amulets, or
yeah, brings good fortune,
and super impressive what they have going on here. But it's just more rice terrace after rice terrace after rice terrace. We got a pretty good view of rice terraces near our neighborhood, but overall it's really impressive. It's just a little crowded, a lot of people.
So how would you rate it?
5 out of 5 for looks, 3.5 for experience, but well, 4 out of 5.
So Elises just gave it 5 out of 5 for looks and 3 out of 5 for experience. Overall 4 over 5. Okay, now there's like a little play of light. I think it's raining over there in the mountains, and it's still sunny in here, so we have this beautiful game of like light and shade and mist and clouds. So I actually have to admit that it's pretty stunning, and maybe I'll change my evaluation from 3 to 4. It's actually very pretty. And tourists went somewhere. I know I'm a tourist, but they're worse. Sorry.
Welcome to Taman Ayun.
So this is the last spot we're gonna visit today. It's Taman Ayun. It's also one of the most important temples for the Balinese Hinduism. And as you can see, the entrance and the entire temple side is surrounded by water. I don't know if it's a lake or it's just like a river. I think it doesn't go all along around the temple. I think it's more from 3 sides of the temple, but it marks the entrance. And here we go. Uli's gonna buy the ticket now, and we're gonna go and visit the temple. It's 5 p.m. and the temple closes at 6, so we're one of the last tourists to enter probably. Let's see inside. So Uli just got his sarong. He's wearing shorts today, so he needs to cover his knees. I have longer pants, so I do not need sarong. And we are in the first compound of the temple. Heading through the axis towards the second compound. It's very, very cute. It's very calm in here, very green. I think we also came at a very good timing because there are not so many people in here at the moment. But don't be fooled, the sun is still very strong. It was a beautiful, beautiful day, but the sun is actually still quite intense. So Uli just told me that this one is also signed up to the UNESCO heritage list. So this is the second place today that we visited that is on that list, and also that together with the Danu Beratan temple that we visited earlier today, it is one of the 6 temples that have very special meanings in the for the Balinese Hinduism. So let's check it out. We're entering into the second compound.
A little bit about the story about Taman Ayun. This used to be a royal palace that belonged to the kids Mengwi or Mengwi, and they kept it into the 18th century before they were overthrown by neighboring kingdoms. And well, the entire thing is surrounded by a moat. And the first section is intro to the palace. The second one is more shrines of worship. And I think when we go next door to this other side of the palace, we'll find more shrines.
So visitors are not allowed inside the temple compound, just like in most other temples, but we can walk along the wall and see what's actually inside. And to be honest, this view is actually beautiful because it gives us perspective on everything. So just like the other temple today, you can see little shrines with several roofing levels. There's always an odd number of them, and the more layers, the more important the shrine. So it's not about the size, it's about actually the total height and number of levels of roofing. And the simple ones, the poddest kind of, where with a simple roof, are places where or they were preferring offerings or for the prayers and so on. These are not shrine as such. So we can see their shrine with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 levels. So the maximal amount of levels. So this one, and I think the other one at the end of the compound, are the most important shrines in this compound of temples. This is a very interesting concept to me, because in Europe we have few most popular religions, and for example in Christianity, when you go to a church, well, the bigger the church, the more important, let's say, the church or the place was, and it's the size of the building itself that determines it. And there's a building and the church is actually inside the building. The place of worship is inside the building. Here the concept is around Pura. Pura, apparently from Sanskrit, means wall, and the temple is everything that is inside of the rectangular or squared wall. So everything that is inside this compound is within the sacred zone. But then within the sacred zone you have several shrines or temples that are dedicated to different gods and different purposes, and they can have all different meanings and are celebrated at different times of the year, which is very, very interesting and different to me. So these are the masks and costumes that were used during the cremation ceremony of the late king of the Mengwi Kingdom here on this side of Bali. And during the cremation, it was only cremation of one person, the king himself. They used the mask of the dragon, so the dragon was coming back to, his spirit was coming back to be reincarnated. As we could hear yesterday in the Saki temple, usually cremation takes place only every 10 or so years because it's so expensive and requires so much preparation. Here, obviously, for the king, there was one person only with a special ceremony, including these masks. So this is the water separating the temple complex from the material, the everyday world. First we entered the first courtyard or mandala, where the social and cultural life of the palace and its people were taking place. This is also where, for example, dance and art performances are held. So in the second courtyard, everything related to the religion, the beliefs, the ceremonies, especially the mass ceremonies like the cremation after the death of the last king of the Mengwi Kingdom. If we understand correctly, the royal family still exists, but they're not named kings anymore. It's more the royal family and the head of the royal family, but they do not have the title of the king because there's the official government of Indonesia, obviously. And coming back to the mandalas, then there's the third mandala, the most important, the sacred mandala, where no one has access to but the priests, and this is where the gods reside, and even the believers, the commoners do not have access there. And this will end our visit to Taman Ayun. This is the entrance to the peaceful Taman Ayun that we just exited, and this is the reality around it. A normal, very busy street on a Friday afternoon. Just so you know what to expect.